There you go. And we're back. Hello, Warlord. Thank you so much for that compliment. Really appreciate it and nice to have you on board with us. We're going to continue our little tour for today. So sit back, relax, and yeah, let's enjoy it. Right, let's have a look, see where are we and where are we going to take off from and to and all the other nice to haves. I'm going to use runway 10.
Round to cockpit, plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
Guys, if you have any questions, you must feel free to ask. I'm just going to continue setting up as usual, but interject, tell me your story if need be, and ask away, feel free. I think you guys know by now this is not the ordinary streams that you get. I'm not here just for entertainment, I'm also here for education. So if you've got questions, feel free to ask.
Will do.
Cool. Alright, so I need to start my Ryanair client.
Adjust vertical speed. Adjust. Climb. Climb now. Climb. Climb now. Climb. Crossing. Climb. Climb. Crossing. Climb. 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 Clear of conflict. Descend. 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 Crossing. Descend. Descend. Crossing. Descend. Descend. Descend now. Descend. Descend now. Increase. Climb. Increase. Climb. Increase descent. Increase descent. Maintain vertical speed. Maintain. Maintain vertical speed. Crossing. Maintain. Monitor vertical speed. TCAS test. Pass.
Ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck, this is your captain speaking. On behalf of all the crew, welcome on board this flight. We expect to be departing on schedule today crew will be showing you a safety demonstration. This is for your safety and for those around you, so please give them your full attention. Once again, you're very welcome on board.
Five Sierra. There you go. Transition. It's a good question. So let's see. Oh, I never set that chart up. Let's have a look. See. 2v5. Volk seems to be the right one. Thing about 2v, so Volk seems to be the right one. We'll double check that. I don't see a problem. There's blog. Seems to be fine. That takes us on to LUNIK 2P. Papa. And we said ILS 44 right. Which one? ILS Y.
Looney.
Yeah. LUNI. Suppose it depends on how you want to pronounce it. Looney Tunes.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Some of these intersections have got great names. Especially Atlanta. They've got all the Disney, Pixar, and then you've got the rock stars and the movie stars and everybody. It's quite cool. And then you've got. Sorry.
No, it sounds very interesting.
Yeah. Then you've also got the situation where certain words in Afrikaans is, you don't say that. You can't say that on air, and yet you've got words like that in the flight plan, because they don't think Afrikaans when they write it, they're thinking English. And in English, it's a perfectly good word, but in Afrikaans, you just can't say it. And the same goes for Dutch, I don't know. I think Afrikaans and Dutch, Flemish, those three languages have got the most colorful way of describing anything. In English, you've got one or two swear words, and then you have to use the Lord's name in vain for the rest. But freaking hell, in our languages, you've got so many bad words. You can pick and choose.
It's a bit like when companies are trying to think of the name for a new product, they've got to consider all the foreign languages because they will offend people otherwise.
Yeah. Even our motor vehicle license plate numbers have got restrictions on what you can put in there because of the spelling, and what it could mean. That's crazy. It's funny.
Yes, it's the same in the UK. They do exclude a few.
Mm. This is new. Oh, this looks doable. Looks like a fun little flight, so let's go do it. Cost index will be 6 again. What's the reserves there? Need to get my Adobe on screen again. 2.3. That's right, 63. Yeah. Plan fuel will be 3.7. We're gonna do. Why don't we do 370 then? I thought we were gonna do 350. Let's see. Maybe there was a step climb I missed. 35, 35, 35, 35. Nope, it's 35. So we're gonna stick to 35 to keep the bean counters happy. Right, so we're gonna do 350.
There seem to be a few speed and height lines missing from the legs page there. Is that something that I should be paying more attention to when I'm looking at charts and whatnot?
Yes, but what you first need to do is you need to put in those legs, like I've just done. It will populate the moment you complete this page. The moment I click execute here, all right, and I go back to my legs page, you're going to see it's been populated. You see, because it's like building a puzzle. You first give it like the basic, the skeleton, and then once you go to this page, this one.
It's joined all the dots and filled everything in.
And then it does all the calculations and put everything in place. So it's building blocks. You had to put the foundation, and now you're starting to build the walls. So don't stare yourself blind into blanks. It will be filled in.
Good, yes.
Okay, so where are we? Right. I remember in the beginning with Zibo, when the guys started catching on, they used to complain the Zibo takes off too fast, and then the other guy said no, it took off too slow. And you had these two poles fighting against each other. And the training that was missing in between the two groups of flight simulator enthusiasts is simple. They don't understand how the assumed temperature works and how this page works. I've been trying to teach guys a long time how to use this page. It's very important, it's vital. Twixter actually made a comment yesterday which reminded me of this. The guys need to seriously learn how to do the programming properly. We've moved one step beyond simple flight simulation. There's now things that count that doesn't count in any other one of the versions of this aircraft in other simulators, but it counts in this one. So I hope the guys catch on soon.
Yes, absolutely.
Because if you set this page up properly, it will take off at the right place, at the right time, with the right speed and all those other things. But yeah, We were never trained. I mean, I flew other sims for many years. We were never trained to look out for things like that. It's not part of the deal. Right, I'm not going to go to page 2 there. I'm just taking it as is. We don't have rain or anything. And now the rotties are getting agitated again. I think mommy's back, so they're greeting her. Right, that takes care of Adobe for us. Let's see, where are we? How many minutes left? Okay, we've got 9 minutes left, so we're doing well on the progress there. We need to wait at least 20 minutes before we can push. So we're doing well on the time. That music will absolutely drive me insane if I have to listen to that music the whole time, but it is what it is. Yay, mommy's home. Right then, Paul, feast your attention on this. Are you on stream with me?
I am, yes.
Right, there's been a lot of complaints. The guys say the ground power unit, for instance, just disappears, disconnects. So everything revolves around the hydraulics. I mean, anybody that understands how hydraulics and hydraulic brakes works know that hydraulics only work once it's charged. You understand? There's got to be a certain pressure on the line, otherwise it's weak. There's no brakes. All right.
Absolutely right, yes.
Right, so in the Zibo, that's been modeled to that level of fidelity. It's literally been modeled. So what happens is if you fly and you use the X-plane setting that says follow terrain contours, and if there's the slightest breeze, if you don't stand on level ground, right, this aircraft picks up the movement. And once it picks up that minuscule, minute movement that could happen, and if the hydraulics isn't charged properly, it's going to disconnect because it thinks that there is no parking brake set. So the workaround in my checklist says to enable these switches because you need to charge the hydraulics. So if you are using runway follow terrain contours, that's the workaround. If you don't, like I'm not using it now, you can see I don't have to use it and everything stays perfectly in place because we're standing on an absolute flat world. There's no gravity pulling one way and wind pushing and pulling another way. So I just thought I'd tell you while we're on this topic, to just FYI,
Yes, you've mentioned that subject several times, and I was hoping that people might have listened by now.
Yeah, we can only dream,
But then again, you've got new people watching all the time, and
Exactly.
it will be a new problem for them.
Exactly. Right, so we've got a few minutes left. We might as well start our APU then. Okay, the guys need to hurry up and get in their seats. We'll close the doors in about 2 minutes or so. There's not much fuel in the center, fuel pumps, but anyway, we will just allow it. There's 100 kgs in there. Right, so while we're waiting, let's do the rest.
I assume that there's a clever fuel feed system that empties the centre tank first,
Always.
even though all the pumps are on.
Yeah, always. That's the way it works. The Boeing relies on the rigidness and the stiffness, basically, of the wings. It's part of the structural strength. That's why it always empties them last.
I heard somebody explain it once, where it's best to have the weight in the same place as where the lift is. Otherwise,
Correct.
you're trying to bend the wings off the plane.
Yeah,
You've
you'll
got
break
all
it.
the weight in the centre.
Yeah, you'll break it. Exactly. That's a very good short answer, that.
Also, I think with the weight in the wings, any turning force, any torque on the plane due to the weather would chuck the plane around less.
Yes,
If you got all the weight in the centre, it would spin easier.
exactly. Exactly.
Moments of inertia and all that good math stuff.
Yeah, stuff all the flight simmers don't know about. Right, so let's call a bit of pushback while we are at it. Need to make sure we are connected on ground power. APU first, get rid of ground power and request pushback.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Right. Now we can energize our hydraulics. Okay, so next thing, check our QNH 1011. And that's us basically ready for the push. So once it's connected,
all
we
doors
drop
and hatches are closed, ready to
our
connect.
packs and we lift our ISO valve and then we can start.
So connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake. Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Oh, look at me. Look what I did. I'm sitting here not concentrating. What an idiot. Sorry. I did it the wrong way around. I've never done that in my life. Can you believe it?
Sorry, what did you do?
No, I lifted the fuel cutoff lever instead of going to ground on the starter. I've never done shit like that. It's the first time in my life. I mean, you start from the top, then go down. I don't know. I have no idea where my mind was at that moment. Like stupid. I might have missed my cutoff by a
Operation
minute,
complete.
damn it.
Set parking brake.
Oh, for your Ryanair.
Yeah, because we only had 20 minutes now and I've already started to push. I jumped the gun by about a minute. Ugh. Damn it. That's okay.
You mean the flight won't count?
No, the flight counts, but they give you they don't penalize you, but they just don't give you the extra 20 points because if you wait the 20 minutes, you get extra 20 points. So, there's not a penalty, but you just don't get extra.
So you're just being a bit too inefficient there.
Yeah,
Or impatient, one or the
impatient.
other.
is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal will be on the left. We'll see you next time. Have a safe flight.
Yeah, I missed it by 30 seconds. I'm not sure how anal they're going to be, you know, for about 30 seconds. We'll see. Doesn't matter.
Well, if it's done by machine, it'll be to the second, won't
I
it?
know, yeah. That is the truth. Flaps 5, green light, both sides. That's cool. Right, let's do our checks. Let's go. By the way, it's nice having you on audio voice here with me.
It's great, yeah, I love it. I just thought of something that might improve the experience of people listening on Discord, and the only thing I could think of was if there was some way of you putting a little bit of the explained sound into the feed for us to hear the clicks and the switches, and
That's a good
probably
one.
difficult to do.
Yeah, I think you're gonna need a mixer for that. I don't have a mixer. But I've actually thought about something similar myself. Because when I watch my buddies flying, I mean, I never listen to the actual stream on YouTube because we're all on Discord together. So you always lose that little bit of depth.
It does feel a bit sterile, yes.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, don't be sorry, blimey. In the sections where there's not much talking, I could always turn the volume up, can't I?
Of course, of course.
But then I'd have to get used to a 10-second delay when the switch goes click.
Exactly. So I'm actually going to disable those ones. There's 400 kilograms left. Technically, I let it always run dry. It goes to 0. But technically, according to the manual, you're supposed to have 500 kgs in there. Once you've put anything in there, it needs to be 500. So that's again, it's just splitting hairs in terms of flight simming versus real world. It's not required, but so I'm just going to switch it off.
Probably not a good idea to run a pump dry anyway, I would have
Exactly. It's clever enough to switch off, and that's why you get the error. But you don't want to tempt fate, you know.
Quite.
Alright, all the switches are correct. We are good to go with this one. Let's get the weather radar, terrain radar, and squawk. Right, we're not on VATSIM, so we don't worry about traffic.
Approaching 10.
Now my big trick still is to get the nose wheel straight so that I can toga, because otherwise I have to battle with the pedals here at some stage. This tiller is interesting to say the least. There we go. Seems better. Right, pushing forward, getting some speed.
80 knots.
92.8 on N1.
V1, rotate. Positive rate.
Gear up.
400.
Ortho 4, is it, Nico?
Sorry? Also, yes. Yeah, yeah.
What's your zoom level? Just here?
17. Most of mine is 17.
Mic off. Mic on.
Nice little S-bend we've got there coming up.
The sort of curve you'd like on a motorbike on a beautiful bit of tarmac.
Yeah.
Talking to the Rotties? No.
Yeah, talking to the wife. She just surprised me with, I don't know what time it is. I think it's an early dinner. I had a brunch, so she was late for breakfast, early for lunch, and now again it's like an early dinner. But yeah, so she's just been telling me all kinds of stories in the background.
You are treated very well, aren't you?
Not always, but today. Oh, and mostly. In her defense, she's awesome. Probably one of the best air hostesses you'll ever find. Trolley dollies. I love this X camera version of a flyby.
That is lovely.
Yeah. It's a different spin on the normal one. Anyway, we've gone past the 10,000. I've done my bit for now, so it's just gonna climb to 350. We're gonna have a lovely flight, and I'm gonna enjoy my early dinner, supper, whatever you guys call it. And I'll be here. You can chat with me on text, but I'm not gonna chew in your ears. I think that's bad form. So I'm just gonna mute the mic.
Mic off.
I must be taking this flight simming a little too seriously these days. I've actually installed a kettle next to me now, so without having to go away very far, I'm going to have a brew. Nice cultural stereotype of an Englishman with a cup of tea, but
Mic on.
that's what I'm going to do.
No, well, enjoy. I don't have a kettle close to me. I just go downstairs and help myself. But I think we all take it very seriously when we do our flight simming. So enjoy it. The one thing that I really, really miss about this house where we're staying in now, my previous house, I had a proper study with a door that I could close. So I didn't bother the people, with the sound that was coming from the simulator. And I had my own toilet, ensuite toilet, which was super. So I kind of miss that.
It's funny, we were talking earlier about the strange impression that I had in my mind about what your house and garden might look like. I pictured your house as more of an open plan place, to be honest. How strange is that?
Look, it's what we call a townhouse. I think the Americans call it a condo. I have no idea what you guys call it, but it's basically we've got a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom place, but it's got the loft at the top, which is upstairs, which is split into 2 areas. One's my office and one is for the kids. They've got a computer here that Reinhard plays games on, and
Okay.
my daughter's got a little house with the dolls and everything, and whatever. So it's like their playroom, as a matter of interest. So it's not extremely huge, but it's comfortable. I would, have liked one more room, and I would have liked to have you know, that ensuite facility with a door that I could close at least off my office. The previous place we stayed in had like 4 rooms plus the study plus upstairs. It was a big place, very big place. But we had to move, so next time we move to a bigger place again.
Mic off.
Yeah, my house is. I'll try and paint a picture for you. In the little hills in the north of England, in a small town, fairly deep valleys. Valley bottom's about 400 feet above sea level. The moorland at the top's probably 1400, and there are valleys cutting through it. And historically, nobody bothered living in the valley bottoms. It was all very wooded and boggy and wet. But when the Industrial Revolution started, this water became suddenly very useful and very valuable. And little mills, water mills, were built up the side valleys and whatnot. So it's quite green and pleasant. And where I live, it's a little row of, I suppose you might call them cottages. It's where the factory fodder, the people who ran these worked in these first mills lived. Very small. The house I'm in now, it's actually 2 cottages knocked together, but originally it was 1 room upstairs, 1 downstairs. And actually in my roof, there's a cutout in one of the roof timbers, so they obviously had a rope ladder or something up there to stuff the kids up into the roof to sleep. And an old guy who lives down the street, he said he remembered Mum and Dad and 3 children and uncle and grandma living in a 1 up, 1 down house. So that's the style of the building.
Mic on.
I've got 2 of them knocked together with just me in it. It's I feel a bit spoiled.
Okay. Yeah. Well, as long as you make it home, it's fine. You know, you can live anywhere as long as it's turned into home. But it sounds lovely. I mean, I don't have the grand dreams of mansions and stuff. You know, if it comes and it happens, it's okay. But I'm also happy where I'm.
Absolutely right. Yeah. And the funny thing is that when this old guy I mentioned first moved into the street, most of them were empty. They'd been condemned by the council as being not fit for human habitation.
Wow.
Very damp, and they were for, you know, like I say, for factory fodder. Very, very basic. There were no windows in the back wall because that's where the weather came from.
Okay.
They were like caves. You went outside to fetch the water from a well. No plumbing. So they were very basic. And the old guy said, oh yes, in 1950, whatever it was, when he first moved here, he could have bought the whole row of houses. That would be 12 houses. And I think they wanted £500 for the whole lot of them.
Wow.
Which, of course, you know, that would, you know, when a guy was earning maybe £5 a week wage, so it was a lot of money at the time, but nothing like the amount of money in proportion to your income that it would be now.
Wow.
Yeah, 500 quid, and he'd probably be sat on a couple of million now.
Mm. The first house that I ever bought for myself was 165,000 Rand in South Africa. I think it's valued at probably about 2.2 million right now. It's crazy how the property changed. But now with the politics interfering in property, property is going to be useless and valueless very shortly anyway. So, you know, we had the bubble and I think it's going to burst. So we'll have to see exactly what happens.
Yeah, the property prices went crazy over here. You know, and you get a lot of local people complain about um, how how they've been priced out of buying somewhere in the
Yeah.
town that they were born,
Mm.
and people from outside the town have got more disposable income, and the prices go up and up. Yeah, I mean,
Give me a second.
when I
Mic off.
sorry, say again.
Mic on.
Sorry, I just asked you to hold on a second. The wife just wanted to ask me something quick again, so I muted my mic.
Yeah, the prices went very silly. I mean, when I got my place, I think I had to borrow something like 3.5 times what I was earning. And to do that today, you probably have to borrow 6 or 7 times as much. So it's wrong, really. It's wrong.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Thousand to go.
Right, well, that takes care of the food. Um, and I see we on cruise level.
Mic off.
I feel I've got an apology to make to both you,
My
Nico,
God.
and Uncle John at some
Why?
stage.
What
It
happened?
was a couple. It was a couple of months ago, and I can't remember just how the subject cropped up, but I think you mentioned trolley dollies, and I got a bit shirty with you, I think.
Oh, ah,
And I think, and what it is, it's nothing like outrageous political correctness or anything like that.
mm,
And I think I made a comment. It's while I was still typing in the chat,
mm,
and I think I said "flight crew" in capital letters, shouting.
mm. I can't even remember that.
It just feels a bit rude. And
Mm,
I think I mentioned a flight attendant called Barbara Harrison, who's the only woman in peacetime to get a George Cross for gallantry. She was burnt to death at Heathrow in 1968, getting the last people off a BOAC flight.
okay.
And I was making more of a point than I should have done, so I'm sorry for that.
Okay, no. Well, thank you for that, but that obviously wasn't in my mind ever, so it's fine. Hundreds. But I know the feeling when something nags at you like that, so glad you got it off your chest.
Yeah, thanks, Nico. Yeah, the story is amazing, actually. You know, if you look on Wikipedia, um, going back time after time when the steward had jumped out, the pilots couldn't get into the back of the plane to help out. They had to climb out the ropes at the front.
Okay.
Basically, single-handedly, we shoved people. Like the slide had caught fire, and she was chucking
Wow.
people out the door and kept going back. Then I had to open a different door and shove them out of that one, and
Mm,
she got everybody out apart from two and herself.
shame. Yeah.
And she was from Yorkshire.
Mm, wow.
But I suppose we never know how we would act in a situation like that. Some people would run, some people wouldn't even think.
Exactly. I've seen it all, and I tell you what, reaction under pressure, that's something you can't, unless you were trained to handle it, that's something you can't say what you'll do, eh?
Mic
You
off.
better get that.
Mic on.
That's the guard at the gate. He says that my kids are back with the family. So I say to him, but tell them I don't want the kids back. I would rather have money. So he goes, oh, I'm so sorry. They're already in. Now we're having a laugh. Anyway, I better go open for them. Give me about 5 or 10 minutes. I'll be back. I'm going to put the AFK notice on here. I shall definitely be back, but I'm obviously just, I need to go and sort them out quick.
Copy that.
Right, I'm back.
Mic off. Mic on.
You back, Nico?
I am back.
Perhaps the motor racing's taken everybody away.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm not too worried about the numbers on the screen. I've got 2 or 3 guys listed there, so it's probably running in the background of the guys. So it's okay. At least I've got some evidence I did the flight, and the group can see I made it, so that's fine.
Do you get to see who's watching?
Not on YouTube, no. On Twitch, I can actually see, but not on YouTube, no. YouTube is very anal on their privacies and stuff, which isn't, I suppose, a bad thing. But in Twitch, for instance, I can actually see who's lurking.
Well, I'm going to have to abandon you in 5 minutes, I think. I've said that I'd meet somebody this afternoon.
That's
It's a
fine.
bit of a shame because you know I always like to see your landings. You never know when the floor might disappear, or you know,
Yeah,
a couple of mystery go-arounds might happen for no good reason. Yeah.
yeah, of course. But yeah, you can watch the end of the stream, in the replay mode later. That's fine.
That's something I was going to ask you. You can set up situations, can't you, in X-Plane, where you could perhaps rehearse certain situations. Is that
Yeah,
true?
yeah, that's true. But it's difficult with the Zibo because of the way the Zibo works.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, no, it's almost impossible to do it with a Zibo because the scripts have to run and the information needs to be put in the right place at the right time, which you simply don't get by just spawning in the middle of the air somewhere. It doesn't work.
I was kind of thinking that.
Mm.
Yeah, because I mean, sometimes I will commit to a short flight, 40 minutes, to try and practice something,
Mm.
and where something goes wrong at descent, I've got to start again and do the start of the flight. So yeah,
Mm.
yeah, it's just one of those things, I suppose.
Unfortunately.
More encouragement to get it right, isn't it?
Yeah, I've heard rumors, so don't hold me onto it. It's just a rumor. There is talk about getting the Zibo such a facility, but it's not official. And if it gets canned, it's canned. But if we can get that right, I would love it, because I think there's a lot of guys who would appreciate the Zibo having that kind of a facility.
Yes, but there's a kind of how to explain it? There's a kind of a gold standard if you have to walk up to a Zibo and do it properly. It means you've made the grade.
Sure, sure. But you also get situations where we've had it in the real world. While I was working for Mango Airlines, we needed that facility. We really needed that facility in the simulator where we could then put the scenario up and tell the guys to land it. So we ended up using FSX in the real world for
Wow.
yeah, the purposes that we needed it, because FSX allows you to do that with the standard FSX. I mean, even PMDG doesn't allow it. So we literally took the simulator on tour for 2 years running FSX for the airline.
So you were running scenarios like microcells or whatever they're called, and dangerous situations like that.
Yeah, not necessarily about the window. It's just about the 5 mile final, coming down to land. Because part of the deal, what we had to do was we took it to career days. So your typical audience flying the simulator that's provided by the airline are your final year and second last year of school kids, to try and get them to see what it's like to be a pilot kind of a thing. So
Okay.
that was for all for career days, and we would service anywhere between 1,000 and 3,000 guys, at the career uh, expo. So that's what we had to come up with. Give me a second, hold on.
Mic off. Mic on.
All right, I'm back. If you look at my intro video on my YouTube channel, Paul, you'll see some of the Mango stuff, pop into that intro video where we were working.
Okay.
Also, the one Cessna, I think it's top left, the one Cessna flight, that was me flying. It's the one and only video I ever made when I was still flying way back in the day. And you will see the quality is like ghastly, because in those days we didn't really have proper megapixel cameras and stuff, So in that same video, you'll see um, some of the footage. And that's the only footage I've got in my whole world to prove that I sat left seat once.
Right. My 5 minutes is up. I need to disappear now.
That's
So
fine.
thanks ever so much for the streams, and thanks for what you did earlier. And hopefully speak to you soon.
Cool.
Thanks again.
Cool. Enjoy, eh?
just commencing our descent. Looks like we'll be landing ahead of schedule and the weather conditions are looking good at our destination. We'll be touching down in less than 30 minutes, so do make your way back to your seats. Thanks for choosing to fly with us today, and it's been a pleasure having you on board. seats for landing, please.
Your seat back is upright with the armrest down. If you are seated in the emergency exit row, all items must be placed.
Right, guys, we almost ready to land, so buckle up, stow the trays, and seats upright, all those nice things. Well, that's nice. In my haste to slow down and all, I misjudged the distance a little bit, but we're getting there.
2500.
Thousand feet stabilized.
Bit of gusts here. Very nice. Interesting.
Approaching 2-4 right.
Quite a bit of movement on that wind, so very nice.
500.
Seems to have gone by mostly.
400.
Still movement, but not that much. Right, let's take it.
Approaching Palmas. 200.
Light slow. Light slow. Light slow. Light slow.
100.
Light slow. Light slow.
50.
Light
40.
slow.
30. 20. 10.
Oh, Ruantjie, ja, ek het te veel gepraat vandag, my maat. Anyways, guys, welcome to Palma de Mallorca. And I hope you enjoy your stay. I'm looking forward to a bit of rest. I overdid myself completely today with all the flight simming I did. So, welcome, and rest. GTX 984 gig. Sal vir jou nou gee, moet net vasbyt. Rowan, ek se kom net. Byt vas. Ja, sê. Ek kom net vir jou sinvol koppie. Okay, byt vas hy nie koppie nie. As hy enige tyd my maat, ek moet nou net hierdie ding log vir die VA. Right, that's it. All done, dusted. Thank you guys so much for sharing today with me, and I know it's been a doozy for me. So anyway, I made it. We'll catch you guys on the next stream. Cheers for now. Bye bye.